Hi, I am John, a representative of the New Evening Isle Incorporated, and today we are here for this video that is our first of a series that I call the Dictionary of Selective Discourse. Now, let me tell you a brief introduction of where I got this inspiration from. I watched a really powerful TV short series called Kidding with Jim Carrey. And he said something in the trailer that I never forgot. He said, "Every pain needs a name. Every pain needs a name." So, for the past few months, I've been generating original words that are etymologically accurate, and just a phenomena that I've seen throughout my life, whether they're painful experiences or joyful experiences, or just even phenomena of psychological and physical nature that I've noticed. And today's video we're going to go over 10 of these that I've conceptualized throughout the past 2 months or so. And yeah, let's get started. I think this will be very fun. So the first word is called soulvergence. This is that. You can take a picture of that if you want. And soulvergence is the profound phenomena for when something, like music, has the power to intimately connect with someone's innermost feelings and experiences, while also serving as a unifying force that brings people together across a wide variety of cultures in a universal manner. So it's basically when there's several mediums of art, like poetry or music, and they can connect with people in a way that is universal, which means they can connect to a wide array of people, but it's also very personal. So it's individualized as well. And there's very few things I've noticed that can have that effect on people, and it's very profound when that happens. So, and this second word is German in nature. It's called Nachtwanderglück. There's that, you can take a picture. Nachtwanderglück. Now, what Nachtwanderglück means, it means a profound sense of bliss experienced when walking alone at night. I got this inspiration to make a word out of this from two sources. One from a Charles Bukowski poem. I don't know the name of it, but the second and third line is, "Long walks at night are good for the soul." And I agree. A lot of times before I go to work, or just to start the day, I do go for a walk at 4 a.m. because it's very soothing to me. And the second source was when Mike Watt, the bassist for the Minutemen, he was doing a cooking show, and he said, it's so great to walk around at night because there's nobody out, there's no activity, so it almost like it belongs to you. And I never thought about it that way. The night belongs to you because there's nothing going on and you can do whatever you want. So yeah, that was the inspiration for that word. The third one is called No Stangst. No Stangst, you can take a picture. And this is something I've experienced a lot in my life, and it's a very profound experience personally for me. And the definition is a poignant sadness felt at the conclusion of an exceptionally joyful day, mingled with a certain fear that such happiness may never be experienced again. You know, and growing up with certain obstacles that I've had and stuff like that, I've few very, very good days for me were hard to come by. I'll just say that. I'm not saying I've had a terrible life. I've just very, very exceptionally good days were not an everyday thing for me. So whenever I would have very, very good days, like if I would go to a friend's house and have a lot of fun, or if I would have dinner with people that I haven't seen in a few years, I often get very sad at the end of the day because I don't know if I'll experience it again. And I often miss the days even before the days are over. So that's a very personal thing of mine. And this one's not as emotional. This is called Matamikor. It's Bulgarian in nature, in origin. It says the usefulness of mathematical and hard logic principles to solve real-life soft problems. And to explicate on this, basically what that means is let's say you climb a mountain, right? This is why whenever people ask me what I do for a living, No matter what it is my day job is, I always just say that I'm a mountaineer. I'm a mountaineer because what I'm doing is climbing mountains to solve my problems in life. That is what I do above everything else. So let's say you look at, for example, how to climb a huge summit in the Himalayas. Usually what you do is you go very slowly, and then you take rests for a few days, and then you go a little bit again, and then you sleep there for a few days. You can't just climb all the way up without rest. It's absolutely impossible. And that's the same true for structuring a daily routine for your life. You can't just jump into it with, doing Lex Friedman's daily routine, for example, with all of that going on, starting from nothing. You have to be very incremental in nature. And I just thought making this a more broad term, so that was the inspiration for that. Let's see, this paper sticking together. Alright, and this one's very personal. This is a very hard thing for anyone to go through. This is called Sleetragung. This is the profound suffering experienced when obliged to interact with someone you don't resonate with to professional obligations without any alternative choice. Very common examples of these would be what people call bad bosses, toxic friendships, bad teachers, and you can't get out of it. And it's a very, very difficult thing to go through. It tears people apart. It almost destroyed me a few years ago. It really did. So that's a very, very personal one, and there needs to be a word for that. Not for the phenomenon even, but just for the sensation. Now this one's also very personal that I've noticed throughout my life. I don't know if other people experience this actually, so we'll see if you guys agree. This is called the pedestal effect. See that? This is when you have high expectations or idealized perceptions of someone, often based on their reputation or others' opinions, and then feel disappointed upon realizing they're just a regular person with flaws and limitations. A very common example of this would be like meeting your heroes. They say never meet your heroes, because then they disappoint you. They're not these angels that you think they are. So that is I remember I have some cousins. I have this one cousin who's a pretty well-known drummer for some Christian bands. And every time, a few days before I meet her for family reunion's sake, I always get so revered. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to be in the same room as her. And then I realize she's just another person with limitations, and I always get disappointed. So that's a very personal one. Now this one's very dark, and I have seen this many times happen to a wide array of people, including me. This is called Nevoboom. Nevoboom, here you go, you can take a picture. This is the phenomenon where a group or a mob, or a herd, whatever you want to say, reacts to a single individual with hostility, and upon any retaliatory action from the individual, the group's aggression escalates exponentially. A very common example that I've seen of this is when a group of kids in middle school, for example, bully one kid. And as soon as that one kid shoves or does anything to fight back, their aggression gets exponentially larger and they go even harder on him. And it's a very terrible thing to happen to anyone, but unfortunately I have seen it many times. It's happened to me even, so that's there. Now this one is Mandarin in origin, Su Yin. This is when an institution, such as a corporation or a school or a church, provides prosperity and opportunities to people who don't deserve or request them, and not provide prosperity or opportunities to people who do deserve or respect them. I guess a more common way of saying this is misallocation of resources. And it very much pisses me off when I see this happen. It's not a good thing, and it happens too often. And there needs to be some political change for this. So, but I don't think I'm smart enough to do that kind of work. I'm an artist. I'm not a political analyst or a sociologist. So, let's see. This one's very... I've met several people who have explained this to me, and now I made a word out of it. Selene Vertrout. That's the word and definition right there. So this is the profound and inexplicable sense upon meeting someone for the first time, greeted by a deep and innate sense that you've known them your whole life. So that is that's a very amazing feeling when that happens. You just get that instant bliss when you meet someone, and you're automatically connected to them. And it's happened even to me, because being autistic, it's not terribly common when that happens, but I have, and it's really wonderful when that does. So yeah, these are the first 10 words for this series. Depends on how much I've lived. I will probably do this again if I can gather another 10 words that I can conceptualize. And I will also be providing free downloadable material for all these words in my Substack that I will link in the description for you to look at that. And that concludes our first edition of the dictionary of, divergent series, So I hope you really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed doing this. And let me know if you want me to do this again. And thank you, and may God be with you.